Welcome back to the Consultervation show, which talks about real conversations about business with our friends from all over the world. And we're living up to that once again today. We have got the extraordinary Vince Howard back with us. Vince, good to see you, sir.
Same, Dave.
Triple H is back with us in style. Doug, we've got you here from Oklahoma. Good to see you, our unhinged rambler.
I am glad to be here.
We've got the reliable sweetheart, Mr. Eric Swick himself.
Good to see you, Dave. Good to be back.
Our resident business strategist, and of course, the one and only extraordinary book-shuttering superstar that is the only one we know, Bob Gay. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Dave. Good to see everybody. Happy New Year.
Yes.
It is. I mean, here we are, January the 26th, and 26 days into 2022. The first question I want to ask you is, has it lived up to what you hoped it could have been, given what we've been through in the last 2 years? I'm going to open that up to whoever wants to talk about it. So, has it lived up to what you hoped the year could start with?
I will say, for me, it has. We did a lot of prep work, and really our team worked on being prepared for this tax season. So far, we're getting corporate returns done. Yes, they're taking a little bit longer because of the extra things we have to check for, but we are in the thick of it, I guess, rather than talking about where are we at, what do we need to do. They're getting the process done.
That's really good to hear, Bob, isn't it? That's a good approach. Let's throw it across to you, Eric. How's it going your side?
It's going great. Actually, what I like is the holidays always give people a time to kind of relax, regroup. And so when I hit January, all of my clients that I'm currently working with were ready to go. You know, they were energized and wanting to make change happen. So excited about that.
What's the main change you've been noticing from your perspective, Eric?
The what?
What's the main change that you've noticed with the clients? Is it renewed energy? Is it more focus?
I think not only renewed energy, but more optimism. I think, these last 2 years have been very difficult for a lot of people. And one particular client I'm working with, he's in the hospitality industry, and it's been really challenging and continues to be a little bit challenging. But he just, has a lot of energy and is very optimistic. We're actually probably going to close at the end of this month or early next month on an employee stock ownership plan for his organization. And that's got not only him excited, but the rest of his team as well. So it's exciting times.
So before we open up to Vince and to Doug, I want to ask them a question. And that question is, how are you avoiding the January mumbo jumbo? I think I missed a word off there. There's how much mumbo jumbo is there in January? You've got to take out new ideas. You've got to, go on a new regime, whatever it might be. I mean, let's come to you, Vince. How are you avoiding that kind of thing, particularly as somebody who likes things that are shiny?
So I close my office door, I stick my head in my desk, and pretty much I don't hear it. No, I think we've done or I should say you guys have done a great job of tearing me out of management. Or I should say really not out of management, out of day to day. So the team knew going into January what we had to do. And right now, in fact, I was talking to operations earlier, and in the Florida office, almost every W-2 is done. We're right on track with where we should be for 1099s. We're implementing a new software during tax season, and nobody seems to be, throwing their hands up and screaming, I can't do this. They're all just like, hey, this is great. This is going to, it's going to increase the client stickiness. It's going to make our product more, I don't want to say more efficient, but there will be some processes that are more efficient, and they just all seem to be open to that change, which is refreshing.
So I'd like to welcome to the show, Mr. Turnbull. Good to have you back in 2022. Squire, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've just come back from the pub because it's that time of the evening over here. I only went there for an hour because I am committed to consultervation, of course.
Indeed, Kevin, and your local community.
That's all I was doing. It was the people who look after the graveyard. They go to the pub after that, and I like to show my solidarity.
Yeah.
Kevin, you are, as always, what a guy. So, Doug, how are you avoiding the January mumbo jumbo?
Well, we didn't avoid it very well the first 2 weeks of the month, but we made it past that. So we're back on track. We had COVID in the office and ended up quarantining everybody in the first 10 days of the month. And then I tore my tendon on my thigh. So my workout regime, that you put into place for the new year got shot immediately. And it will be out of commission for 3 months. So, but we're back on track. Everything's going well. We have a great team here. And so we don't have to worry about people getting their job done. It's a matter of, getting the information from clients when you need it. And we've got a pretty good system that getting that done. And so everybody's pitched in and helped everybody out because we were starting off behind. Since we were not in the office for a while. And then on top of that, finally, we gutted our offices and then COVID happened. And as you can see behind me, it's not been put back. But actually, starting on Monday of this week, the electricians were here and all the electrical work's been done. And next week, they're actually going to do the rough carpentry work. And so we're actually finally getting to put our offices back in order after a year and a half of sitting with gutted offices.
I was wondering about that, seeing the concrete still there.
Yeah, it's we gutted it, and then COVID happened, and oh well.
So, Doug, that's good progress. Let's come to Kevin. So, Kevin, what do you think about January mumbo jumbo? I mean, Barb has told me a little secret about something that she started doing the January that isn't mumbo jumbo. But before we find out what that secret is, Vince, what do you think about this mumbo jumbo and New Year commitments, Kevin?
Well, I always start January off with an anti-mumbo-jumbo campaign from a personal point of view. And it was going great for the first week, and then I got COVID. And I had to self-isolate for 10 days. I was really stressing out at the end of it. I was down to my last can of beer. I mean, it was getting, because I couldn't go to the shops or anything, it was getting very, very edgy, and only came out of it last week. So I think actually January's full of mumbo jumbo as far as I'm concerned. So I'm starting February as if it was January.
Well, the truth is, Kevin, why not? And I was speaking to Kevin when he literally said to me on one of the days, he said, I think I'm going to get a test. And while he told me that, he was going to be making lasagna. And fortunately, he made enough lasagna because he then got COVID. So, I mean, that is really good anticipation of self-care, Kevin, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, except I was eating lasagna for 5 days. Which even me, who loves a bit of Italian, even that was just too much.
I quite like this anti-mumbo-jumbo campaign. If anyone's watching, follow British politics at the minute. There's a lot of mumbo-jumbo going on out there.
Yeah.
So, Bob, you've taken on something significant. What is it? Are you happy to share about your Stephen Redgrave form?
Sure. I am rebranding the company after 40 years that it's been in existence, and I'm changing my whole. Well, first of all, I moved 90 days ago, so as part of that rebranding, we moved into a new office space. We have designed the office with our new brand in mind, Radish. So everything through this tax season will be Watson and Company growing into Radish. And so then after tax season, it'll be Radish Accounting or Radish Tax or Radish Payroll. And it has been very, it's changed me. It's really changed how I look at business, how I look at my team, how I look at my what we do for our clients. I've always talked about I like to help clients. I like to see clients grow. But now we're turning the company into something to make them grow and make it more what's the word I'm looking for? Accessible to them to grow and to ask us the questions. You know, Vince talks about you changed them into doing things. You've done that for me as well, RLC has. And so I'm trying to get that out in front of my clients. I'm using some advisory core 24 items as well that I'm going to get out to my clients in the next couple weeks and have them use it for a couple months and then try to do some training with that. So part of this whole rebranding has been part of changing how we work around here.
Now, I have to say that's a brilliant answer. But Kevin's probably wondering why I said Stephen Redgrave. Because Kev, who is Stephen Redgrave?
He may be a famous British rower.
So rumor has it, Vince, that Bob is an Olympic rower in the making.
I don't know. If you can consider, if I could win the Olympics in 10 minutes on a rowing machine, but I'm rowing. I'm doing something, and I bought this hydro rowing machine, and it touches every ounce of your body. I can tell you.
You're feeling it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And when Bob told me about it, I was like, wow, that really is aggressive, but it is the right type of action. And I think we look at mumbo jumbo in January, that isn't. That's a real action. I mean, the thing about that for me, I remember years ago, we used to talk about things in workshops, and we would talk about, who has made belief changes in the past and not done them. And we'd always laugh at who joined the gym and doesn't go. And I'd even have a direct debit form at the time. I'd show people the direct debit form and say, listen, if you want to join my gym, you can pay me and you don't have to come ever. In fact, please don't come ever. And people would laugh, going, yeah, he hasn't really got a gym, which is true, I don't. But at least you can feel like you're going. What you've done, Bob, is tangible because you're making a serious change. And we all know on this call, it's about driving your physical fuel gauge, having the fuel to be able to run and lead your business, and more importantly, have that balance in your life. So I'm going to open up another question. I'm going to put these to Doug, and I'm going to put these to Vince, and I'm going to ask Eric to cross-reference their answers if you believe them, and Kevin, you do the same. And for Lord only knows, Vince and Doug, do not make Bob close the book on this. So here's the question. How are you feeling or looking forward to February? Let's come to you, Vince.
Well, you know me, it's typically always, glass half full. I'm always looking to run out and make some changes. And yes, exactly. So I think I'm really looking forward to 2022. We've got a lot of small projects that we're working on here to increase, really kind of increase our service level out to the clients, and to really change the way our team works. We're looking long and hard at not having the team work as many hours as what they've been used to working. One of our goals, which Dave, when you and I review our framework, you'll see this is our last tax season that we're working Saturdays. So I don't care what happens next tax season, we are not working Saturdays. It's just not fair to the team. It's not fair to put their life on hold. So we're not going to do what we've always done. That's probably the easiest way to put it. So February starts we're the caterpillar about to go into the cocoon, and by the time we come out of tax season, we're going to be a beautiful butterfly.
So let's see if you've passed the cross-examination test. Let's pull that for a second. We'll worry about the typos in a sec, Kev. This isn't working. So, Eric, what do you think about what Vince just said?
Well, first of all, I love what he said because he's talking about the framework and having a plan. And that's one of the things that I think about when you talked about January or February. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. You should always have a plan that you're executing and working against, right? And that's what the framework does to you and having that plan. Yes, there's always going to be course corrections as you go by, but I love, Vince, what you talked about, the team and, no Saturdays. It's doable. It's just we've got this head trash as accountants and CPAs that, no, it's tax season. We have to work Saturdays. So I commend you on taking that step and moving in that direction. And that's only possible because of the work you've done prior to that, right? Having a plan and executing all the different steps and actions and goals that you've set for yourself. That's critical. I think it's wonderful.
Kevin did just send me a message. He said, Dave, be careful. There might be a BS alert. And Kevin's controlling things here behind the scenes. Thanks, Kev. Now then, of course, the challenge is, what was that BS? I mean, he did such a great job there talking about things, didn't he, Kev? About, working Saturdays, it's not fair to the team. And then he started talking about cocoons. I'm like, where's he going now? I mean, cocoons, Vince, in business accounting. What are you talking about?
It's the transformation, Dave.
Yeah.
Anyway,
actually, Vince, I completely get that. And there is an underground movement in the UK, which that's all I'll talk to go to a 4-day week with companies like Canon UK. Canon, the camera company, Canon UK, 4-day week, same pay, because they think actually it's more productive. And you talk about looking after the staff, and it's not fair, and I'm absolutely with you on that one. Living in California, where they had the American disease of working too much and not taking their due holidays because it's not the right thing to do. Whereas if you compare that to the European situation, where everyone in Europe gets 28 days paid holiday. 8 of those are public, but you get 20 days paid vacation, and you are expected to take them for your own health and well-being.
It's a good show, Kev. And
so you're being a pioneer. I know you're only talking about getting rid of Saturdays, but every movement in the right direction is a good movement.
I think so.
Apparently, every little helps, Kev. But I quite like that reference, and I do accept your transformation BS defense system. Thanks, Vince. So, Doug, I'm coming to you with the same question. How do you feel about February?
First busy season we've had in a while, where we are fully staffed. We actually we were looking for one new CPA. We found 2. We hired them both. And so we're actually set to continue the growth curve that we've been on and enjoy it without having to strain everybody that's left behind. So we're kind of really looking forward to that. And by the way, Vince, we still work Saturdays for 6 hours, but nobody works overtime. They get to take the 6 hours off in the week. It's prearranged and they take it off. So some don't work Mondays or something of that nature. So we don't believe in overtime in the firm. So it's worked out real well for us. People don't leave. They're happy. We don't have the stress that we used to all seem to be buried in. And it's been great. So, but I think February, this is going to be our best tax season we've had in a long time, because we're, like I said, instead of being slightly understaffed, we're actually overstaffed this time.
Well, that's a change. That's great, Doug.
Now, let's see then, Eric, any cross-examination on what Doug spoke about?
The only thing I'm going to say is I know I've had conversations. We've been on conversations with Doug, and he's talked about this, that's what he wanted to do. And I'm proud of the fact that he, implemented what he was targeting to do, is make sure that he had enough of a team so that it's not a stressful tax season. So kudos to you, Doug, for executing your plan.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, it's a little scary when you're, but we decided that we would just take the risk and get it done. And we've already, with COVID, a lot of people in our industry have left, and we have lots of clients coming in, or prospects for new clients coming in. So I suspect that we will be at full capacity by the time tax season's over anyway. So, and we'll be looking this summer for someone else,
There you go.
It's nice to at least approach tax season. And as we've started, the tax returns are all caught up and everything of nature, the ones that have come in. So it's nice to be headed into February knowing that I've got the capacity to handle whatever shows up and to deal with the things that Barb was talking about earlier. It's always, this is going to be a tough year. The IRS is not fully funded or, have enough employees. There's a bunch of new rules and things we have to do in this tax returns to reconcile stuff that happened with COVID. So we know it's going to be a little bit longer process for tax returns this year anyway. So we're ready. I'm ready for it. I feel real good about February, March, and April.
So thank you, Vince, for some live coaching there, helping me sort out my audio. So I think these are good examples, Eric and Kevin. Bob, what do you think about what everyone's talking about so far with February? Do you have anything to add?
Well, we're working Saturdays, but we are not working. We used to do 2 days during the week. Am I echoing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Barb, it's you.
Is it me? Well,
I like to hear what Barb has to say twice anyway.
Totally.
You're such a smoothie, Eric. You really are.
Okay, then I'll stop talking.
No,
Please.
Shoot, Bob. Shoot.
We are not. We used to work 2 days during the week, and we would stay late and do appointments, and to get tax returns done. Not do appointments, but get tax returns done. So this year we decided we're just working 7 hours on a Saturday. They're putting in their regular time, and we're just going to see where we end up at that point. Because I agree with you, Vince. I think it's head trash that we have to work that many hours. I think that being efficient, we have enough things in place to be more efficient, but we need to do it, and we need to learn how to do it. So we are hoping to do that. In between that, we're going to take 2 or 3 Saturdays off during the tax season too. So we're not working every Saturday. Give ourselves a break. Work 2, take 1 off, work 2. So we'll see where we end up. And I think we're staffed well enough to be able to handle it. I think that part of the problem we had last year was our bookkeeping, and realizing now that I can outsource and have some other answers there for bookkeeping has taken the load off my managers. My managers were having to step into that role and help with that stuff. And so now I had 2 interns that worked last summer that now are working remotely from school. So I'm able to do some of that work so that they can help on the bookkeeper side, and the managers don't have to.
Brilliant. And that really is. Debbie was talking about it yesterday with me and with somebody else. And we were talking about why is it the industry acts like every tax season is a surprise? And as an outsider, still from that context, you just sit there going, but you knew this was coming. If you think of a retailer who have had a tough time in the last couple of years, the world of retail, if you walked into a shop at Christmas at the busiest time and the manager's going, I'm totally surprised at this. Where did they all come from? You'd think they were mental, wouldn't you? But hopefully anybody knows that they would have been ready months before and prepared. So it's refreshing to hear that. I want to put a word up, and I'd like you to tell me what you think of it. And then we're going to talk about the format of the shows coming up this season. And the word is, here it comes, drum roll, please, Eric. That is sophisticated. What does the word balance mean to you? So let's come to Vince first. Actually, always fresh out the box. Vince, what does balance mean to you? Any context?
So if we're looking at it from our, I think from our team perspective, I'm looking at work versus social life, right? Work-life balance. Dave and I had a really long talk. I got yelled at for the vacation that I took in December because I took it for all the wrong reasons. I went on vacation to work, and and then had writer's cramp basically, and got nothing done, and came back and was kind of in that bad space. And in January, I took a trip over to the UK just to go look at cars. That was all I did, was go look at some really high-end sports cars. And talk about balance, in the middle of January, taking 5 days off just to go play. What a world. But that's the balance, right? We've got work, we've got to play at the same time.
I totally agree. It's a good answer. Let's come to you, Bob. What does balance mean to you?
It's the same thing as Vince. I don't do it as well as Vince does, but trying to get balance in your personal life and the business. The business will survive. I was out during the summer quite a few days, and it was unexpected, but the business survived. You know what? We were a little bit behind, but we got things caught up when I got back, and everything was fine. So I do think I've learned that it can survive without you. You just have to have it set up that way and be staffed properly. So that is one of my 2022 goals, to work on that. So,
hey, Barb,
yeah,
Dave is kicking me out of the office in July, so I think I'm just going to come up and stay with you. And
you come stay with me. You're welcome anytime.
Perfect. And it was the shock. It was the shock of people's faces when that went into the framework. Because sometimes we've got to commit ourselves to it, haven't we? What does it mean to you, Kev? Balance.
Well, I think balance is all about being a radish. Now, a radish is small and peppery, just like Bob. But in reality, a radish is a powerful inflammatory. And I think what the world is suffering from is business inflammation. We're all working too hard. There's toxic stuff in the body. And the more you can do to alleviate that, the better it can be. And I think radish is a brilliant brand name, Barb. So all kudos to you for choosing it. I think it's perfect.
Thank you.
Can't hear you, Dave.
Business inflammation, live from Kevin. That's excellent. That's all I was saying. Let's put the same question to Doug, sir.
Good work-life balance for all our team members now for several years. And I think that we're very, very close to being there. I think you can always improve. You should always have it somewhere in the forefront of your mind to make sure that people are not failing to take care of themselves because they want to impress people at work or something of that nature. But most people are using the vacation that we have set up for them. They're taking the time off. We kick people out early on Fridays all summer long, paid them for the 4 hours that we didn't allow them to work, things of that nature. I'm taking the month of July off too, Vince. I will be in Spain in the month of July, unless travel restrictions are reinstated. I don't intend to be in this office for the entire month. So that's the first for me, and hiring additional people is allowing it to happen, and having trust in them to get the work done while I'm not present is a big step for me, but it's something that we've been building for, as Eric said, for a couple of years. And you can't talk about it. You got to do it. It's easy to talk about it, but at some point in time, it has to become more than talks. And that's what we're trying to be right now, is more than talk. Make sure that it's something that we actually preach and practice.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug. Let's come to Eric before we talk about the road ahead with the episodes and what we're going to be doing. So,
yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say I want to go work for Doug if he's going to pay me for time not worked. But when I think of balance, everything everyone said, I agree with that. But I also think that there's balance in each of your roles, especially in a leadership role. there's going to be times where, you know, you have to really work on the business and focus on, you know, how do you grow and how do you develop. And there's going to be times where you're going to just have to step in and actually work in the business as well. It's just making sure that balance is right. So it's not just work life, but also what balance you have in the work part of your life and how you manage that. That's what I think about.
I really like that. I'm just following up what Kevin said a second ago, Eric, about global businesses are inflamed with powerful toxins. Because I do think it's a really interesting consideration for, and I want to put it up there for everyone to see it, but
Yeah.
I think it's a real interesting idea because what it tells us, once again, we've got to prioritize caring for our people, like we've been saying for a few years. It's becoming more important. Now, a couple of things. Balance your radishes. I like that. It's very good, Kev. Balance your radishes. Nice one. So, in this particular season of the show, I'm really keen for us to do real advisory, and I'd like to ask you all, how do you feel about that? Doing advisory, problem solving live on air, open mic. Who wants to answer? How do you feel about doing live advisory?
I feel good about it. I feel good about it, except for Kevin's now made me a little apprehensive because, you know, he puts out all this really strong worldwide advice, and I think, you know, I might be thinking too locally or something for Kevin's taste. I'm not sure.
I think that is not right, because what's big internationally is absolutely the same locally. You know, in your community, you've got a radish problem, where you need more of them. You need more anti-inflammatories, and that's where your consult business comes in.
Excellent, Kevin. Really like that. What do you think, Eric, about doing advisory live and solving problems as a team?
Well, I think it will be more valuable to people as they listen to what we talk about. I mean, I love what we've been doing, but I think it's that next generation of this podcast that makes sense. And hopefully people will be able to take away from the podcast things that maybe they can implement in their own businesses.
I totally agree, Bob.
Yeah, I think it would be good. I just don't want to start. I'm just kidding. I think it's good. I think it would be very good for people to, like Eric said, take something away that they can help with.
I totally agree, and Bob, I think we can democratically decide who's starting, can't we? I think the way we'll do that is of course it's going to be an alternative close, and the alternative close is it going to be person A or person B? Person A is George Powers. Person B is Kurt.
There we go. I'm good with that.
So, let's put it to the vote. Bob, who do you vote for? Who do you vote for, George or Kurt?
I'll vote for George.
Okay, Eric.
George.
Doug. George or Kurt? Doug?
Well, it seems like George is the one getting all the votes, so you know, I have no problem with either one of them, but sure, George.
Kevin?
Oh, I think I'm a Kurt man.
Oh, excellent. Good man. And let's come to you, Vince.
Yep, and I'm like, I'm like Kevin. I got to go against the grain, so I'm going Kurt.
So,
you're the deciding vote.
George.
No.
Anyway, so the idea is we are going to talk about problems in business right now, a bit like business inflammation. And what are the things inflaming business? And in fact, Kevin, not only are we going to actually take that, we're going to do that in the episode in February. We're going to talk about what is business inflammation and business toxins that are going on. And let's talk about what those areas are and what we can all come up with to address those in the next couple of quarters. How does that sound to you? Excellent.
I think it's a great idea. I don't think people. I think this forum should actually challenge, normal thinking.
Yep.
And we should talk about there is a leadership deficit all over the place, all over the world. We should talk about the fact that people are stuck in their ways, that they're not thinking about accountants have got to work a 6-day week. Some companies can work a 4-day week, and critique that, because you don't have to agree. It's a discussion forum. But I think talking about business toxin is a great idea. I'm working with a company now who, to be honest, they don't really know what they're doing. They're going through a process of giving individual goals for 2022 without setting their corporate goals, and I think that is very common, and it is asked about face. It's not the way it should be done.
Yeah. Kevin, it's interesting you say that, because I think back in my career, I did exactly that. I wouldn't do it now, but I've done that. And so, yeah, it's totally not the way to approach it.
Yeah.
I did that for years. I had goals for myself, but didn't, and trying to move the company forward, but nobody knew what those were. And then I was frustrated when they weren't done.
And I think, thanks to both Dave and Kevin, we've taken this from the shotgun approach of goals, right, to the funnel. So, you've got your company goals, your leadership and individual, and it just kind of streamlines down, but everything rolls up into the, into pushing the company forward.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And so let's bring this week to a close with a really exciting summary. We've been talking about avoiding the January mumbo jumbo, or taking part in Kevin's anti-mumbo jumbo campaign when he's doing it in February. That's right. Now, of course, you'll have heard from us about the fact that we love over here RLC Global, San Pellegrino, and many other fizzy water brands. But we were talking about more seriously about how do we all feel about looking towards February and the differences that we can make. And we've heard resoundingly about the desire to transform our businesses, be alert, and of course, start your own mini transformation. In the next episode, do join us again with more of our friends. We talk about business topics that are in play right now and help you, the listener, solve them. Only leaves me to say, Eric, thank you for your time, sir.
It's been great.
Doug, appreciate it. You are muted, but I appreciate you being with us today.
My pleasure.
Kevin, you are as wise as always. Thanks for being on board, sir.
It's been great to be here.
It's amazing what some beers will do to your wiseness.
Hey, absolutely. I get wiser the more I drink. How does that work?
I don't know how you do it, Kev, but it's consistent. Okay, Vince, I'd like to thank you for your time from Triple H's perspective, for being with us.
Thanks, Dave.
And closing out Consultervation leads me to say, I think you all agree, an extraordinary performance once again from the one and only extraordinary herself, the Barbara Gay, only on this show. Barb, thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Join us on the next episode of Consultervation, where we will put your business issues to the test and find out real time what the practical answers are in doing business the real way.